Mega Aggron, Lairon, and Aron. Because interestingly enough, all those Pokemon can be used, and we'll talk about that in a bit. First off, looking at Aggron, I just love Aggron's design, and I like the idea of Aggron. No special defense, no speed. It could use more on the hit points, but just this brutal physical Pokemon. Monstrous defensive stats, good offensive stats for just the attack, and it's a really cool Pokemon to look at. Like, I like the design, I like the idea, and it's just really strong overall. That if you can use it as a physical tank, you can kind of get a lot of work done, and it also has some good fighting power to back that up. When we look at its typing, Steel Rock type. That's, yeah, because of the rock typing, it gains the extra weakness to fighting and ground. So you don't want to get hit by any of those, and then the 2x weakness to water. It becomes a little bit of a susceptible Pokemon while not gaining too much from the rock typing. It still has a good amount of resistances, gets a couple of quarter resists in that flying and normal type, and then it's also just going to be a fairly reliable Pokemon. Now when Aggron Mega evolves, it becomes just a pure Steel type, which means more resistances, about the same on the weakness, just no 4x weaknesses, and it gets the filter ability. So all of these super effective attacks only do 50% more damage instead of 100% more damage. So the modifier is 1.5 times instead of 2. Now, let's go into Pokemon Showdown, and we'll talk about Aron and Lairon really quick, and that's because Endeavor, with the Sturdy and the Shell Bell and Sandstorm, that the idea behind getting a Fear Aron is that you need to have a Pokemon like Tyranitar set up Sandstorm, mostly with a Smooth Rock, that way you have the most turns for Sandstorm. This was a lot stronger back in 5th generation because you had unlimited Sandstorm, but now you don't. So the idea is you have to sack off your Tyranitar, and then you have a couple of turns of potential sweeping. That what happens is you get knocked down to 1 hit point by taking damage, you throw out the Endeavor. Endeavor counts as damage, so Shell Bell will heal you back up to full, and then your opponent gets chipped down and gets knocked out by having the Sandstorm come in and wipe them away. Now, it doesn't work against Steel, Ground, and Rock-type Pokemon, but anything else you can constantly loop and potentially sweep an entire team with, so it's just worth bringing up because it's pretty cool. Lairon is going to be an Eviolite Pokemon that gets ridiculously tanky if you actually think about it. The Eviolite is going to be like a free Assault Vest almost, and when Aggron's defense is 60, it's like having a lot of extra defense and a lot of extra special defense, as well as not having too much on the hit points or the hit point or the attack, but it still is very tanky. That if you compare it to Mega Aggron, you're getting much more special defense, a little less defense, and a little less hit points, but it's kind of weird how you're sacrificing the item for Eviolite, and then you get close to your Mega form on a defensive standpoint. Now, Mega Aggron does have far more attack, but it's just kind of the idea there. And then I was thinking you can go with the Rest Sleep Talk on this, that you rest, you set up Curse, you get super defensive, because you already have a decent amount of special defense, you have a good amount of defenses, and then now you're gaining offenses. You can go and use Iron Head as your Sleep Talk, and with the Sturdy ability, it just kind of gives you a little bit of insurance, but it doesn't really accomplish too much if you're going to be like consistently getting one-hit KO potential. But it does help if you're already set up, that they bring in a Pokemon that'll hit you super effective, and then you have the opportunity to knock them out when you might not have otherwise had one. So you can kind of turn some things around, but overall with those large amount of weaknesses, that if they bring ground, water, or fighting, you're going to be in a very hard position. But if they don't, now you're going to be able to be an incredible wall against all of that. So when we look at Aggron, Aggron has a lot of things up its sleeve. That you can become an offensive Stealth Rock user. That with the Sturdy ability, it gets a good opportunity to set up. So what I was thinking is that you want to max out the speed and then max out the attack. And one of these moves, I was actually trying out something else here. Well, these moves should be Rock Polish. Now, Rock Polish gives you an interesting option here. That first turn, you know, you take the hit, potentially knocks you out, you have Sturdy, Rock Polish procs, and now you're going to be incredibly fast, and now you can get your Stealth Rocks off. It'd be the same as though, you know, you went last, got your Stealth Rock, survived with the Sturdy hit, and then got hit again. So at least this gives you other options by setting up a Rock Polish, that you can go into an offensive state. From there, that Earthquake Heavy Slam is going to be able to do potentially KO Pokemon if you hit it really hard or you have that super effective hit. As for the item, it's hard to decide on an item for this. You don't need Focus Sash since you already have the Sturdy. A couple other things, like you could have Citrus Berry to help you out against threats that aren't going to one-hit KO you. So it's kind of like you're covering all of your options with the Citrus Berry. That Sturdy makes it to where if you were to get completely wiped out, you still survive. Citrus Berry means that if they're bringing a physical Pokemon, you're already resisting really well, or not the strongest special attacker, you might become a 3-hit KO Pokemon with it, or even more, which just gives you more opportunities with that Rock Polish after you've set up your Stealth Rocks and gotten a lot of damage on the field. And I was even thinking this could be the opportunity to get a good use out of, wrong one, Focus Band. Focus Band has a 10% chance to survive an attack that would otherwise KO when you're at 1 hit point. So Sturdy's going to drop you down, and then you have a 10% to survive. Now the cool thing about Focus Band is it can work multiple times. So if you just like keep getting hit, you know, there's a chance that Sturdy could proc into Focus Band, and then Focus Band could proc again. Now, since there aren't really too many other good item options, I feel, there's no reason that this is considered bad, because it just gives you a 10% chance to do extra damage, extra KOs. Now, while that is low, you're not getting much benefit from anything else, and it can just be an incredible way to frustrate your opponent. So this is actually a pretty solid competitive use. Just think about it like that. It's not a super hacksy thing. It's kind of your best option since you're not gaining benefit from anything else. So I think it can actually work out pretty well. And then when we look at Assault Vest Aggron, this is going to be the more common set that does bring a lot of strength. That also has its own little things behind it that could work out really well. So if you look at it, we have, again, Sturdy is a really weird thing to decide on. You can go with Heavy Metal for Heavy Slam, or you can also go for Rock Head if you want to go and bring, I think it's Head Smash? Head Smash is also a really good option, and I'll talk about that in a bit. So we have Assault Vest boosting your special defense. So now you have a reasonable special defense, not an incredible amount, but it's going to help you survive those non-super effective special attacking hits. And then you already have a large amount of defense, just fully invest in the hit points, and now you're getting the most out of your 110 attack, and this is what I was talking about when we were breaking down stats. Huge defensive Pokemon with a lot of attack and some solid hit points, and it just kind of follows through really well. So when we look at this, Head Smash makes for really interesting opportunities. That because of your Rock Head, you're reducing the recoil. But with Head Smash, you have the opportunity to survive a Scald from a timid Life Orb Greninja, and then Head Smash it for a one-hit KO back. So that's like really the only benefit I saw with Head Smash when I was running damage calculations, but still pretty cool with the whole Assault Vest setup. And since if you're running Assault Vest, you don't want to be knocked out, you're not running Sturdy, you can either have Heavy Metal for Heavy Slam or the Rock Head Smash. Only thing I don't like about Head Smash is that the 80% accuracy kind of could be bad if you're trying to go up against another Pokemon, but really it is a solid option overall, and it does help you out against Water-type Pokemon because Heavy Slam, Steel, Water type is going to resist, Earthquake doesn't do too much, and Ice Punch is again going to be resisted, so at least this gives you like another option that can help you survive against some rather strong Water-type Pokemon because of that Assault Vest. And then let's talk about Mega Aggron. Mega Aggron is essentially going to do what Aggron does, but with a little more tankiness and a little more damage. It got 20 points on the special defense, 50 points on the defense, and then the rest into attack, so another 30 points into attack. It's going to be, again, a very strong Rock Polish Pokemon. Set up Rock Polish, it's a heavier Pokemon, so Heavy Slam does more. Ice Punch, going to do a lot of damage, and Earthquake for follow-up. And since it isn't a Rock type, you don't need the Rock type moves, but again, it depends on what you're worried about. Like, if you want to resist a Talonflame and then dish out some damage, you can go for the Rock Slide because Earthquake and Rock Slide are going to pretty much hit the same things besides Steel. So it's really what your team needs. Do you need a Pokemon to handle flying threats or those other kind of threats? Or do you just want to go out and Rock Slide and try to get some damage, like extra coverage while sacrificing a little bit of damage overall if you're still looking for those super effective hits? Because pretty much, Heavy Slam is going to be your one-hit KO bread and butter. That if you have, I believe, 4 times more, it's like 4 or 5 times more weight than the opposing Pokemon, which is really easy with Aggron because it's such a heavy Pokemon. It has like a 120 base power, or at least even like 100 base power or something. It's a pretty absurd move, so it's going to do a lot of damage. With that 400, you're looking at a lot of KO potential while being an incredibly fast Pokemon off of Rock Polish. And then as you might have seen earlier, we still just have another Rest Talk with Heavy Slam instead of Iron Head. More damage, easier setup on the Curse, and because of Filter, less things threaten you. That Filter is going to make this pretty easy to set up with. Now, you still are pretty susceptible on a special defensive way, but as a physical tank, you can easily switch in and set up against physical Pokemon. So that's all there is to the whole Aggron family, and I think it's really cool because every Pokemon has its own use, and it can be very strong from it. So there is a lot of diversity. There are a lot of things you can run. As for the best sets, I really like the way that the Assault Vest comes through with Head Smash. It works out pretty well. Well, I just don't like that 80% risk. You know, if you want to take it, it is the best option that you have, and it's going to be really strong. And then also, I like the Rest Talk on Aggron. It can help you set up as, like, the beefiest, damagiest tank ever. And then Aggron with the Heavy Slam is also going to be really nice under that Rock Polish. Later on, Aron do some work. Aron used to be stronger, but now not so much. Still really cool though, just like one of those gimmick sets I have to shout out. So if you guys enjoyed the video, and that's how you use all of them.
Want to impress your friends? This Magic Zigzag Pencil Box is the perfect trick. It's easy to learn, so you'll be wowing everyone in no time. It's also a great way to relieve stress and keep your hands busy. The vibrant, shimmering...
Welcome back, Wolfpack. Vrolas here, and this is how to use Caracosta. Hold on, guys. That's a shell. Okay, that's a shell, that's a shell. That means that this Pokemon gets Shell Smash, which means we can't look at these stats at face value unless we're running it as a full tank, but we'll get into that later. However, what Shell Smash does is it cuts your defenses, but also doubles your attack, your special attack, and your speed. So that means we're going to have to look at this Pokemon a bit differently. Interestingly enough, a lot of Shell Smash Pokemon have a very high core defensive stat. It does help with Shell Smash, and it also makes the tanky dynamic of the Pokemon really interesting. But overall, 108 attack. That getting boosted, going to be pretty nice. 83 special attack does give us 5 special defense. Right there, that if it was in a bit. We only get 163 speed on neutral nature. We're doubling that, that's only going to be 326. You know why that's not good? Say we have a Pokemon like Celebi, and that's going to be a timid Celebi. We're going to have less speed than a base 100 speed with speed investment. That means a Kangaskhan's still going to outspeed us even after Shell Smash, which is why I was thinking Salac Berry? Now we do get the Sturdy ability. Sturdy is awesome. It means we don't have to worry about a Focus Sash, and we can kind of do whatever we want in this situation, because, okay, we come in, we absorb that hit, we get our Shell Smash, our speed goes up, and the idea is we want to get knocked out, effectively. That we want